You are now entering the Thick Goddess Energy Morning Show. We in the building. High priestess in the building, didn't let my fears kill me. Transmuted my pain in that cleanse in the rain. Found out I was working and I conquered my demons. I accepted my purpose and the goddess I became. All right, we are live. So, good morning. Good morning. This is the Thick Goddess Energy Morning Show, and I am your host, Divine Moon Goddess, and I have a special guest here, Elisa Herrera, with me this morning. It's going to take a couple minutes, and then we'll start getting people coming on. But as we're getting into it, I talk about you a lot, though. You don't know this. Because I did a past life regression. I told you I did a past life regression with you early 2020. It was a game changer for me. It definitely opened up a lot of what I didn't understand. I didn't realize the karmic energy that was attached to the situations. And so I talk about you all the time. I'm like, you guys got to do it if you're stuck, and we're going to talk about that a little bit because I don't think people understand the value. A lot of people are terrified. They're scared because people say, oh, if you do that and you open up, you're going to open up these things that you don't want to deal with. But I feel like it's kind of the contrary of what's the purpose. The whole point is because you're stuck, and that's the tool to use. Good morning, you guys coming in. So I did want to just talk about that, but you do so much more than just past life regression. I was just looking at some of the things, and you guys, this is my special guest this morning. We're talking about a lot of things because you have life transformation activation. I was like, wait, what does that mean? Because I'm like, what does that mean?
So what it means is that a lot of us are, and I don't know if your audience is ready for this, but a lot of us are connected galactically. Okay.
Right.
A lot of us are here on a mission to help humanity.
Right.
And what happens is when I connect people with their galactic family, there's an activation that happens.
Right.
And from then on, they're able to speak to these guides that have been guiding them all along. They didn't know it was their galactic family helping them.
Right.
But basically it becomes an activation because from then on they're activated. They are speaking to this family more directly. They're able to connect with them faster.
Right.
And so it changes their lives.
Nice. And we do talk about a lot of things. And a lot of my viewers or the people that come to me or clients are people who are in the beginning, they're lost. So they have no idea where they need to go. So I'm kind of like the buffer in between. Okay, spirit's kind of directing you over here or spirit's directing you over there. And that's kind of where they come. They come to me like I have no idea what I just know that I'm lost. And that's kind of where we're at. So it's kind of like the shift to help. And of course, we're talking about past life, which is it's a little bit different because you have the QHT level 2, which if you guys don't know, and I'll let you kind of just go into it, it's a self-hypnosis. It's not you putting someone down in hypnosis. You're actually doing it yourself, right? You're putting yourself, but you're facilitating in this.
Right. The QHHT they call it hypnosis, but in my opinion, it's more of a deep regression, a
Mm-hmm.
really deep regression. Do people go under hypnosis and go under trance? Yeah, but not very many.
Right, right, right.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Rebecca, you said your daughter's from another world. She probably is. I think we all are in some sense. We're all not from here. It's finding out though, and I think there's specific people that kind of have ties to different places, because I know you also have the ninth dimensional Palladian, and I know that is there's a lot of people who just are star seeds or connected in that way, or so if you feel connected or you feel that calling, I think it's just there for you to kind of look into it, if you're being called in that way or feel like you don't belong here, because I think that's another one of kind of, I don't want to say symptoms, but kind of one of the things you look for is not feeling like you belong here, right?
Yeah, that's what I call it. I call it characteristic. The characteristics of a starseed are people that have never felt like they belong here. They feel out of place. They feel like the family that they were born into are total strangers. They're not connected to them. They feel alone. They feel
Right.
different. They always look to the stars. Just they have specific characteristics.
Right, right. Awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
Good morning, you guys. Good morning. Okay, so I wanted to ask, what is the Psych K practitioner?
So Psych K is um, something I got certified because not everybody can do the regression part, and me being one of them. So I wanted to have something where I could help the person if they're not able to during the regression see a past life or
Mm,
whatever. So Psych-K uses muscle testing, kinesiology to look for answers and subconscious beliefs um, that are not helping you, right?
right,
So this it's a way to change a belief that is hurting you right now. So all of our belief systems are created from the time we're in the womb to the time we're 7 years old. You are in hypnosis. You
wow,
believe everything that you're told. So if you were in a playground and a kid that you've never met comes to you and says, "You have big ears," from then on, as an adult, you still cover your ears. You don't know why you hate your ears. You don't know why. Well, you're not born hating your ears.
right,
Something happened to you.
right,
Somebody said something to you. And so there are these subconscious beliefs that we have no idea they're there, but they're mostly come from childhood. And
right,
so what Psyche does is it balances your brain to believe a new belief. So if you don't love yourself, for example, you can balance for I love myself unconditionally.
right,
And so you now uh, changed your brain, your right hemisphere, your left hemisphere to agree that now you love yourself unconditionally.
right, right,
So, right? Or that I love my ears,
right, right.
So it's a way to change subconscious beliefs. Now the key is finding what those beliefs are.
Which is not easy. Which is not
Exactly.
easy. Definitely not easy, as I had to work through a lot of different things, not just from this life, but past life. And that's what made me even do past life regression. And I found you. I don't remember how, but I can tell you when I ask spirit to deliver, they deliver because think you're phenomenal. I have to tell you that. And I
Thank
talked,
you.
I talked to everyone about it. It was a game changer. It was it was the first healing session that I ever did and just jumped in to past life. But I noticed on my path, I started as a tarot reader. I started in that path. For some reason, past life would always come through the cards. And I didn't understand why spirit was showing me on that level. But then eventually it came to just be like, okay, this is what we're tapping in. We're able to tap in and see that there's the deeper meanings. It's not just about why don't I find love or why is my person cheating on me. It's not, it was deeper than that. So spirit kind of pushed me to go a little bit deeper with myself as well. And I know with what I had to realize that because even in the regression, I remember I was still in a point of my life of wanting to know my ancestors, wanting to know. And I remember my higher self wouldn't give me that. It's like, you have many, pick one. It's like, which one do you want to choose? Pick one. And I think I was still pissed off and mad at my higher self at that time. And I was like, what? Like, that's what you gave?
But if I remember correctly, and let me tell you, I do not remember people's sessions, but
Right,
for
right.
some reason, I remember yours.
Oh, wow.
You did something. You were in Egypt, right? We
I
went to
was.
Egypt.
I was
I
in
remember
Egypt.
that.
I was. And I had this crazy where I had been killed. I think it kind of started it kind of started off with me at a point of being killed, which was crazy. But I just I I there's parts and pieces that I don't remember, but the biggest thing I got from that was one of the first times that I was disconnected from source. And that was one of the biggest parts of that first Egypt. Um, because when I kind of tethered to this life, I had this baby and didn't want to leave, and kind of tethered to this life and didn't, we also we're supposed to go through a transitional period when we're supposed to cross over, right, and go through our transitional period. And I didn't do that. I kind of stood behind. And then when I did, because then when we fast forward, because you do this thing like a movie and we kind of fast forward, I got stuck in this place of nothing. And that started my first ever like abandonment and unworthiness issues in that
Mm.
moment. And that was, in this life has been one of the biggest things that I had struggled with. And we don't understand. And this is something that we don't understand how spirit will then, when we come back, everyone comes into our life is going to be that lesson to not diminish us and make us feel like we're unworthy, but to test us to make sure that we still, I guess, can still find our worthiness through it all, right? And it's hard to do that as a kid, though.
Oh God,
Through
yeah.
it's hard to be like, well, everyone shit on me, and now, and now I'm supposed to still somehow feel unworthy. But this is where you come into it.
Yes.
Yes, Rebecca, Egypt killed. I think I'm pretty sure I was killed a bunch of times. But those were the two that we looked at too. One I didn't get killed. One I died at like old age, and it was pretty crazy. I didn't really learn any lessons in that life though. It was kind of sad. So, when I talk about this a lot to tell people, because it's, how do you know when past life regression or one of these sessions that you do is something that they need? How would they know? Because I think a lot of people get stuck in, well, this is normal, this is just what I've been going through my whole life, this is just, you know I've been given this hand and it's shitty and this is what it is. So how can they understand, like, no, look at something a little bit deeper. These are some signs to maybe reach out and do something different, try something different.
To me, it's really driven by their intuition. It's something that their intuition is going to tell them, this is for me or this is not for me. Because if they come without being ready, then it's not going to be a good outcome,
Right.
right? Because they'll be in fear, and fear will stop everything.
Right.
You can't doubt what you see, and if you're in doubt, then it's not going to be good. So you got to be in a good place. And usually it's people that say, "Oh my God, I had this feeling I had to get this done, and I had to be with you, and you came out of nowhere." And so there's always,
Right.
I would say it's definitely spirit guides guiding you, or your intuition.
Right.
That's when you're ready.
Right. Right. I think a lot of people go in with kind of expectations too, right? Because everyone wants to be like the Queen of Egypt, and everybody wants their past life to be like this huge, monumental kind of past life. And then it's like, yeah, I was in a tribe.
Right, yeah, yeah. But it's huge, because when you realize that you're not just this life,
Right,
and there's so many others, it's
right,
almost like it takes away the big deal of what's happening to you, right?
right,
Like something, like you think it's a huge deal, but then you're like, this is nothing. I've been this, I've been that, I've been killed
right,
here, I've been. So it almost like makes it more of what it is, which is an experience. We're here to
right.
experience. I believe it or not, I had a woman that was a red blood cell.
Oh, wow.
I've had people that are rocks and trees and the wind and werewolves and mermaids, and we are here to experience. We literally are out there, in source world, in spirit world, and we're like, oh my God, I'm bored. What's it like to be a bee?
Right.
and boom, you're a B, you know? So it's this is just one of
Right.
thousands and thousands of lives.
I think that's where a lot of people get um we get so taken away because we're here in it, right? And I tell people, no, I've seen that nothing. I've seen that space of complete utter nothing, which was scary in one sense, but then also I think in one of the lives when I crossed over, I was in this energetic place which was different. It was such a different calming place. But there is, and it's like we get so caught on where we're at that it's just like this is all we know, this is all we see. And then when you have one of these sessions that you go into an understanding that you have lived many times and that this is a lot just, I don't want to say just like it's all a game, but if we can look at it differently, we won't get caught up in those. I don't want to say small because it's not small when we go through trauma and hurt and pain, but if we can look past it, we can see the experience versus the like um I don't know, holding on to it too hard or not letting it go or not just releasing it and allowing ourselves to kind of move forward.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's and that's why it's so to me that's why it's so big, such a big deal to do it because it really puts things into perspective, in
Right.
my opinion. And also if you have traumas that you're not able to heal from this life, sometimes they do come from other lives that are
Right.
happening. So it's a big deal.
I think sometimes I don't think everyone can see the lessons. There's been things that I still don't have answers for per se. And even working through pain, is one thing because that's one level. I think sometimes things don't have a lesson per se. They're just life. I think sometimes we want to understand everything, because I think I had a lot of questions like that in my session, like wanting to understand so much. And then there was a lot that my higher self was like, you're not ready. And it's like, okay. So I'm like, okay, let me wait a couple years and come back and see. Let me see if I'm ready. But I think that's the good thing about our higher spirit, that higher self too, which is a guide. And in my path, I've always had my higher self more than anything in my path. And some people think I'm crazy for saying that, which in this world, crazy is a loose term.
It's better to be crazy than normal, in my opinion, because then you're open to other things. It's when you're close to new ideas and new thoughts that is a problem because you don't
Right,
grow.
right, right. You're stuck in that ego box, right?
Yeah.
Um, Sasha says, so is there still a lesson to be learned from past lives that create patterns in one's present life? I hope I'm making sense.
Yeah, absolutely. That we do tend to have patterns that whenever we don't learn a lesson, it will repeat itself in a different manner, but it will repeat itself until you learn it, you know. Um, so sometimes it has to do with forgiveness, and that can be a hard pill to swallow, right? Especially for people that have been sexually abused by someone, or
Right,
something that's a big deal. They have a very hard time forgiving.
right,
And if that's the lesson for this life, if you don't learn it, it's going to happen again.
right. I've seen that a lot where and not to say that I haven't had my trouble with forgiving some people in this life, because I have, and I've worked through it, but I have seen some that are just like, why do I forgive? They don't deserve that. It's that kind of like, and I get like some things are horrible. I've been there. I've gone through some stuff. Um, but I think that's that, like you just can't get past it, right? You're just
Yeah.
stuck.
Well, for people that are going through that, let me tell you something. You could be paying karma right now. You could have, been, you could have been the rapist in the other life, and now it's the other way around, you were raped. And it's like, you don't know, you could be
Yeah,
paying karma. And that's why you have to forgive. And not only that, we're all one. We are all one. And when you forgive others, you're literally forgiving yourself. Whenever you put out good energy, it comes back to you. So it's about the whole. It's about not just you and this experience, but it's
right,
about all of us healing. When we heal and when we help others heal, then we are healing together because we're all connected. We're all one.
right. I think that's the hard part of it, is that getting out of ourselves to do that, right? Because you want to be in what's happened to you, you want to be in that anger and that pain, and to process that you could have been the person who did something, right? That you could be so bad, or you could be. And I think that is also something that people um don't want
Even
to accept.
consider. Yeah, they don't want
Yeah,
to consider that.
that they
Yeah,
could have been this person. And I'm like, well, yeah, because I think I saw me do some crazy sacrificial ceremony in the past life. And I'm like, wow, that's something I would never do here,
right.
which, but in that past life, and then I did a couple other kind of different type of sessions where I end up, being the cause of like a whole tribe dying. And that hurt. It hurt to understand that or hear that
Yes.
I could have been the cause. But our lives, we don't always make the best choices. We don't always make the best decisions, and we're not always the same people. Our identity changes.
Yeah.
Um, and so, past life, like I said, my readings, tarot would always pull this past life energy, this karmic energy. And it's like, yeah, life's not really, being evil or just for no reason. There's a reason behind it. There's an imbalance. And I think we don't want to believe that. We don't want to believe that we can ever. But I feel like, and I don't know how you feel about this, but I think it's true what they say: when someone is triggering you or irritating you, it's something within yourself that is being triggered, or or you're getting angry at someone for their behavior. It's actually coming from within you.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And there's some concepts that are a little advanced that, might be something that might not make sense here. But when you come to realize that this reality that we live in is really a projection, it's a holographic projection of your mind.
Right.
So, in essence, you're projecting those people in your reality. And the reason you're projecting them in your reality is for those lessons. And so they're here placed specifically by you so that you learn specific lessons.
Right.
And so when you start realizing that you are projecting them into your hologram, and they are there for specific reasons, then it's a lot easier to understand why this person is being an asshole, right? You're like, oh, okay. I projected you to be that way for me to learn a lesson, whether it's to forgive you for who you are, accept you as you are, or whatever the reason is. Um, so in the end, again, we're all one. Um, we're all here to learn lessons. That's really what this is about. It's about lessons and the experience. Like I said, if you want to go be a rock, you just think, I want to go be a rock, and you're a rock, and then you have that experience. Well,
Right.
it's the same thing as coming into a human body and say, oh, I want to experience what it's like to have parents that hate me.
Right.
What does that feel like? And
And a
you
lot of
come
people
here.
are like, why the hell would you choose?
Yeah, because when you're in spirit, everything's happy, everything's joy. It's boring. It's boring. When you are in constant happy, joy, joy, it's like, I'm not learning anything. there's nothing for me to do here.
Yeah. Yeah. It
So
just is. It's just
yeah,
a, and it's crazy that, I did get the privilege to see that part, and it changed it changed a lot of. Now, it didn't, of course, I was still in the beginning of my path, so of course I still was not where I am now in being able to kind of be open and looking at things on a different place. I was still so many questions and wanting to know and stay obsessive about a lot of stuff that now it's just like I don't need answers. I think I was talking to my daughter the other day, and it was just like, yeah, I don't need those answers anymore. It's just kind of like it is what it is. It's happened. It's not. There's a bigger picture of why I'm here, what I'm doing, what I'm doing. So I'm beside that. And I think we get caught up in those minute details. I think it's easier for us. And hi, Sam, we're not in Zoom. But I don't just bring anybody on. I'm not sure why you want to join. Give me some reasons why I should bring you on. Um, but I like the fact that because I get your newsletter. So I've seen your newsletter pop up, and you do some cool interviews with like people from all over. I love it. I absolutely love it. Collective healer, I think you guys kind of understand what that means. Collective healer, like helping the collective. And if you guys don't realize what collective is, I'll let you just kind of explain that a little bit more.
yeah. So the collective healer, um, um, it's just because, like I said before, we are all one, right? And so the collective is really all of us, all of us together.
Mm,
And again, when you heal one, you heal everybody.
right, right. Right, Becky. Yes, 24/7 happy is boring. That's why people, if you look at hurt and pain, why we sit in hurt and pain as long as we do, we kind of create the suffering, or we at least we prolong it more than what we should, because we're feeling something. It's prompting us to feel. And I think that's something on my path that I realized that I keep taking myself to this very dark place. I keep taking myself to this place, but it's because I could feel it intensely. And I don't know what prophecy means. Can you
No,
prophecy?
no.
Okay.
That's probably looking towards the future. So,
Oh, you
yeah.
know what? I think you guys got to remember that I know a lot of people are very gifted in what they can see, and I'm not knocking anyone's skills, but energy changes. So, there could be anything at any moment that changes what you think is going to happen. You could be the most gifted, and then a lot of times things do happen. And it's like, because, there's a lot of times people come back to me and they're like, what you said came true. And it's like, yeah, because there was nothing that changed. There was nothing that changed from when I gave you the reading. There was nothing that changed. And of course, if there's no changes, if there's no movement or shifts in the energy with the people, then yeah, most likely it's going to come true. But if you have that shift, if you have that change, if something changes, like that butterfly effect, I like to say, then anything can change. Um, do you guys have any questions? I just love it. And I keep telling everyone one day I'm gonna do it. I keep saying I'm gonna do it because I think I really believe in the past life regression. I really believe even the healing part. Um, because even that, sitting in that and witnessing it, because I was able to witness it. I'm very that's my control freak side that wouldn't go to sleep like I was supposed to. I don't know if you remember, there was parts where, and I could feel this inside, where you were asking my higher self questions and I kept wanting to answer. I kept wanting to answer, but my higher self was speaking, and I'm like, wait a minute, I'm blocked here.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's fantastic.
And then there was like one time where I was able to get through. And then I think you were like, no, I'm talking to the higher self. And then I was just like, and then my higher self comes back out, which I thought my higher self had no personality at all. But I just thought that was funny of like going, but the healing, okay, where I got to kind of witness that, my own repairing my own DNA. And I thought that was phenomenal. And I tell people all the time, I have not really been sick since January 2020. We did my past life regression in May 2020. So there was a shift in how I even saw health after that. There was a shift. I started to go more into holistic healing and into us repairing our own body and seeing how phenomenal we are to heal oneself and be able to do so.
It's you again, we are the ones who project this hologram out there, so therefore you have complete control of that body that you're projecting out there. You can heal all of it, cancer, all of it, all of it. It doesn't matter what it is. You can regrow cartilage. You can do things that doctors will tell you it's impossible. That's because they don't know. They have
Right.
no idea.
Right. And I remember there was a part of healing that my higher self kept saying that it wasn't time, like it couldn't be done. And I didn't understand. It's just like, what the hell? Like why? I understand now though, because there's a part of my weight that is tied into my emotions and trauma. And I had to see that and I had to understand that. And I had to understand how I created this meat suit to understand fully to get rid of it. And it wasn't until earlier this year that I tried a theta state session. Actually, took me back to the past life that I was in with you, the session where I understood that it was another part of the abandonment issues when I got stuck with the nothingness. And all I remember is that nothingness because that was big, that kind of disconnect and feeling abandoned. And that was my disconnect from source energy. So it was crazy that every time in this life where anyone would get close or because I had lost my first daughter, I would expand. My body physically would expand like this
Oh,
protective shell.
yes.
And it's weird that in no matter how many times I went to the doctor, there was no like nothing they could say until finally someone's like, "Yeah, you got PCOS," and it's like, "Yeah, no, I don't have, I don't, I just didn't sit." You know, in your gut, you're telling yourself, you're like, okay, for 2 seconds, it's like, oh yeah, I have a diagnosis. And then when you're going through it, you're like, yeah, this is not, you guys say it's this, but it's not matching up with me. It's not matching up with my life. And then finally going through the process. And now I see, okay, this has been attached to this trauma. This has been something I create in the moments that I'm blocking myself. And we don't even realize that we can do that. This is why healthcare, for me, I just see it completely different.
Yeah, yeah. Well, remember, healthcare was created by the not so good guys, right?
Mhm.
Um, so it's important for people to know, and this is something that I have learned doing this, is that weight has nothing to do with what you eat or what you exercise, okay? It's all here.
Yep.
Right here. It's belief based. Everything having to do with weight is what right here. There's a subconscious belief that is causing you to eat the way you eat or to hold on to the weight no matter if you eat nothing.
Right. Right.
Okay? So yeah, it's all right here. It's a subconscious
Right.
beliefs that's causing it.
Right. Because I used to get so frustrated because I would literally not eat and I would then gain weight. I would then gain 5 to 10 pounds and it would be overnight gain. And it's like, where the hell did all this weight come from? Where I would literally wake up and my uniform would be tighter the next morning. And then I had a lot of guilt and shame with it also because people make you feel bad that you go through the fat shaming, you go through all of that, you go through a lot of things in society making you feel like you're less than, right? And
Yeah.
so I noticed that this year when I changed and took away my need to feel guilty afterwards. So if I felt like having something, okay, I ate it, so
That's
what?
huge. That is huge.
Game
That is
changer.
huge. First of all, everything is energy. Okay. If you put anything in your mouth and you already have negative energy on it, for example, a donut, if you feel guilt eating that donut, you better stop. You better not eat it
Yes.
because that negative energy will absolutely show in your body.
Yep.
You have to, whenever you're eating anything, You have to be like thankful, like, oh my God, I love you. Thank you. You make me feel so happy. I am so
Yes.
grateful to have you part of my life. And
Yes.
you bring me joy and you bring me happiness, you
Right.
know. So it's you gotta change. Everything is energy. Everything is energy. And you're putting in negative energy every time you feel guilt
Yep.
when you put something in your mouth. So if you're gonna, if you decide to eat something that in your mind shouldn't be something you should eat,
Right.
I suggest you either change the way you think about it, or you don't eat it.
It's huge. It's huge. I've lost about 60 pounds this year just from changing the way that I see food and my relationship with food. Now, I do make healthier choices, but that doesn't mean I don't go out and I don't eat. Or, I'm at a restaurant and I'm like, oh, salad, please. No, I'm going to eat. I'm going to be wherever I'm going to be. I'm going to taste their food. I'm going to eat it and I'm going to enjoy it. And so I removed that part of feeling bad or feeling like I need to diet, because that was the other thing,
Yes.
removing the fact of needing to diet. It's like, no, just, yeah, make better choices, drink more water. But that whole guilt after it, yeah, once I finally removed that, that has been a huge shift for me. Huge shift for me. And yeah, I go to the gym here or there. I'm not in the gym all the time. So
Well,
it's
that's
like,
another thing. You don't want to do something you don't want to do. Don't do
right.
something you don't want to do. Do not go to the gym if you don't want to go to the gym. Again, you're attaching negative energy to
Yeah,
that. So you're not, you know what? You're wasting your time.
right.
You're wasting your time
Right.
because
Because
nothing's gonna good is gonna
not
come out of it.
happy. It's not happy, you're not enjoying it. You're just kinda like, there's days where I'm like, "Yeah, cool, I'm ready to go to the gym." But there's days I'm like, "Yeah, I don't feel like it today. So
Yeah,
what's the point?"
yeah,
And then you have people that will tell you, "No, you have to be consistent, you need results and this and that." And I'm sure for the people who believe it, you
right.
know, it works for them.
Yeah,
Um
yeah, but they don't know and they don't understand about energy.
Right, right. That's more of their because I've worked with the trainer and they do kind of hit this the Western medical jargon, and
Yep.
that's kind of their go-to, and they talk about heart disease and this, that, and the third. And I'm like, no matter my weight, I'm actually a healthy person. I don't have diabetes and all of this other stuff besides the quote unquote PCOS, right? That they said that I had, which I don't take anything. I used to be on metformin and diuretics and all this stuff. I don't take anything anymore. I drink my herbal teas. I have my coffee. I pretty much eat a healthier diet where I kind of watch some of the stuff that I eat because I don't want to eat. There's are some stuff that's just horrible out there. There just is. There's food that I just feel like it's packed with a bunch of stuff, and I try to stay away from stuff, but I don't sit and count calories. That's not my thing.
Yeah.
I feel that's so it just I tried it and it's depressing to sit and take 30 minutes to count my calories. I'm like, yeah, I don't want to spend my time doing this. I just want to flow with life, right? Just flow with life and go. I think
Yeah.
that's why you have a happier life. Stop. I think we overthink a lot of this stuff, and I do believe we create our realities. I'm a stickler on that. I do believe we create our reality, and if that's what we believe, then that's what it is.
The universe is just a mirror of your thoughts and beliefs. That's it. It is literally a mirror of
Right?
your thoughts and beliefs. So if you believe you're fat, guess what?
Yeah.
Guess what?
Yeah.
You are going to stay fat because you believe you're fat. You have to change your mindset. You have to change the way you think because again, the universe is just going to deliver you what you're putting out there. The
Right.
thoughts and beliefs. That's it.
Yeah.
And something
Um.
else that I want to mention that came to
Mhm.
mind as well. Love your body. Love your body. Tell it you love it. When you go to bed at night, talk to your body. Your body is a separate consciousness from you. You are a soul inside this vehicle, which is imagine a car, right? When you drive a car, you're not the car,
Right.
you're inside the car. It's the same thing. So you're driving this vehicle. You need to let this vehicle know, my God, you do so much for me. Thank you,
Right.
heart. You beat every day. Thank you. Because of you, I can live this life that I chose. And
Right.
just talk to your body every day. Your cells can hear you, and I promise you that will make a difference. And if you again think that you're fat, stop,
Right.
and start seeing yourself in the way that you want to be so that the universe and the mirror can reflect what you want to see.
Right. I think also some people, it gets very hard, and I know, like I always say, I'm from a very poor background. I'm from a hood, I'm from the hood. It's and I think one of my goals in this life is to assist people transfer out of that mindset, because that's a deep pre-programming right there in itself, right?
Big
To
time.
shift into, oh, I'm just supposed to believe, but that's not what I've seen my whole life. And that's one of, I think, has been the hardest places, is to shift because of what you think, the reality that you think. Um and I don't think have found an easy way to assist in that aspect just yet. It's still something I know I use myself as, if I can do it, anyone can do it. But I think it's always easier said than done. It's easier said than done. It's easier, but how bad do you want it? Because I do feel like in this, especially this past year, I realized that choosing happiness was better than choosing the sadness. And it was a choice. I could stay with the going back to the depression or sadness, and I'm someone who's dealt with depression my whole life. And a lot of people who deal with depression, it's like they're told, go get some pills, some happy pills, because that's all you got. But you can choose to be happy. And as soon as you make that choice, that's the game changer, when you're
Yes.
really like, nope, no more. I'm going to choose to be happy in this moment. And it's crazy how it really is that easy.
Right? It's very simple. It's very simple.
It is. And it's sad, because we unfortunately create so much more suffering in our lives that we need. And I think that is like one of my things to try to help, is people like stop the suffering that they don't need, that you don't need to continue. Just like the guilt and the pain, we're causing that. We're causing that, sitting in that energy, sitting in that space, reliving those things over and over and over, and not allowing ourselves to move forward, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Sasha says, how long are your sessions, and how many does one need to find answers?
So the sessions are 4 hours. We talk for about an hour to 2 hours. And then the regression part takes about 2 hours. And to find the answers, believe it or not, it's you do it in that one session. It's you find it all in that one session usually. I don't like to have more than 20 questions on the in the session, but usually people don't have more than 20
Right.
questions. Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know. I don't know. I think I have a lot of questions. My higher self was like, no, 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 you still have stuff to do. um, yeah, Evelyn, I do think boundaries, you do have to have boundaries, because um you do have to set the tone for how you want people to treat you and talk to you and vibe with you. So those are your boundaries, saying that I'm not going to deal with anything less than what I deserve. But of course, it's always what you deserve. So if you feel like you deserve less, then guess what? People are
Ex- exactly.
giving you less.
Exactly.
Sasha says, are birthmarks proof of past lives?
Yes. Yep.
Interesting.
Something happened in that area uh, from a past life.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Do I have any birthmarks? I don't know. I don't think I have any. Or I did when I was little, but I think it's gone. I think I used to have this spot on my leg, but it's gone. It's interesting. I was always fascinated with the past lives, and I just kind of knew. I think I agree with the intuition. I just kind of knew. I knew that there was more. I knew that I was from somewhere else, I just knew, you have that feeling of not belonging, um just feeling like this can't be it. That's kind of the feelings that I grew up with, just like this can't be it, this can't be all. And then of course, yeah, boom, here we go. Like, yeah, there's these other lives and these other personalities that we've had, and unfortunately we haven't been the nicest people in each one. So
Yeah, and something that I want to mention too that I think is important is and that um, the lives that we choose are contracted. So when you come to this life, you kind of write a contract. This is almost like a play, and you're like, oh, in this play, I want to be, I want to be so and so, and I want to have an abusive husband, and I want to have this, and I want to have that. And believe it or not, the people that hurt you the most in your life are your soul group. Those are the people that had to sign up to be the bad guys. They're the ones who had to sacrifice this lifetime to be the bad guys. They're the ones who had to be the abuser. So believe it or not, those people that you hate and that are in your life and all of this that have done really bad things to you, believe it or not, they are your soul family that signed up and agreed to do what they did so that you could have the experience that you wanted to have.
right,
So I hope that kind of helps you understand where these people come from and why they're in your life and things like that. And it might make it easier to understand their behavior, um, and might make it easier to forgive.
right. I think that's the very harsh part of it, is swallowing that pill, swallowing that, because people don't want to believe that. They don't. I've seen that a lot.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's hard for them to accept that.
Yeah,
It's
very
very hard
hard.
for them to accept that. But I mean, I can tell you, I've been doing this for 6 years, and Dolores Cannon is my teacher. She's the one. So she did this for 40 years. She has books over books over books with
Yes,
proof, with factual proof that this is real. This ain't like
right.
uh, an idea that I might think this. No, this has been proven over and
Right.
over that this is real. This is true.
And
So
this is from documented sessions, these
yes,
documented sessions that kept going.
thousands and thousands
Mhm.
of sessions.
Right. Which I'm a believer on it, definitely a believer. And I do feel, depending on your life, if you're stuck or, just wanting to get those answers that maybe you feel like, you need, it definitely can get you answers. I do feel like you have to have that open mind. Don't have the, all right, I'm going to go in and I'm just going to get all, no, probably, I think you're going to get what you're supposed to get. Um,
Absolutely. Your higher self knows
right.
exactly what you need to see, what you need to hear, if you're ready.
Yep.
Yeah, it knows.
Because my higher self was like, yeah, nope, she's not ready. And I wasn't. I wasn't ready for all the stuff that I wanted to know. I wasn't ready, and the concepts just would have went over my head. It would have went over my head, and I wouldn't have understood it in maybe the way that I would now, of
Hmm.
growing, of learning, of, because you really have to step out of what you think you know, that pre-programming, because the answers you want are not tied into the logical answers that you're looking for. I
That's
think that's
true.
one of the biggest things that it's why. It's because you're looking for this to make sense and it's not. Especially when it comes with past life, it's not going to make sense because, especially with the connections with past life, it's very interesting, and I loved it. And I thank you because, spirit brought you my way, and it did help me. It helped me on so many levels, and it helped me to understand some things, even work through my first daughter's death, where at the time I was still struggling with that, still struggling. Now I didn't get the answers behind it, but to the core of me, I already know, so I don't need the answers. It's one of those things that you just realize the core of you. You understand it now. You know, that there's more to it. That was my confirmation that there was more to it. That I'm not crazy, right? And I think that's more than anything. Some of the things we struggle with is trying to make sure we're not crazy. That we're not just seeing. We're not just having these delusions or dreams. People just say we're having these dreams. That it is real. It's very real.
Yeah.
So you guys to connect with Elisa, her information is in the description. So if you guys want to connect with her, you do remote sessions, right? I know we did mine in person because you're here in Florida. Well, you were in Florida, but I think you're still in Florida.
Yeah, still here.
Um, so, if you come to Florida, sure. If not, she does remote sessions also. So you guys can do remote sessions with her. Her information is in the description. If you want to reach out to her, if you want to contact her one-on-one, definitely can do that. Support her page. I don't know if I had your YouTube channel though. So,
You mean in the description?
yeah, because I know I watch it through your newsletter. So I don't think I actually have your actual
Oh, it's a
YouTube channel.
quantum healing of the soul.
Okay, I'll add that afterwards. That way I'll have it on there. And then a couple last questions. Betty wants to know, how do you tap into your higher self?
So the way that we do it in the session is I when I'm asking questions of the person, I ask the person to speak in the third person. So if the person is answering the question, I want them to say her life purpose is this, or she wants to do this or that, because I'm talking to the higher self, I'm not talking to you. So I put your mind out of the way by allowing you, by asking you to speak in third person, and that kind of makes that your logical mind kind of step to the side and just allow for this other voice or other mind or thoughts to come in that are not your logical mind.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Your higher self is always there, Betty. I will tell you, we just don't pay attention to it. Sometimes it's the little voice that that's there. It's the good voice though. It's not the bad voice that we hear. It's the good voice. I think you can tell. I think someone else was asking me this question, and one of the ways that I realized my higher self from me was the tone. Like, I know my personality. My personality is this way. My higher self had a very different personality when those thoughts came in, or the guidance came in, should I say. It was just different in a way. And I think, of course, it does take practice for you to sit with yourself, sit with yourself, sit with your higher self and get to know yourself. And that's, just some of your spiritual practices will get you to go there a little bit deeper. Do previous past lives, Sasha asked, do previous past lives still want us to be aware of use of previous lessons or past skills?
So every the more you know about your past lives, the better, because the more you remember of things that happen, right? You're not going to make the same mistakes again.
Right.
You learn so much from that. That especially like psychic skills. If you had a past life like as a good witch, let's say, right? The witches
Right.
that got burned, in North Carolina. Yeah, those psychic abilities are incredible if you bring them forth, from those lifetimes. And
Right.
healing as well, healing, that you used to be able to do. If you bring that healing forth, you can start healing people again.
Yeah.
So absolutely, the more you can bring from your past lives, the better. Absolutely. And something that I want to explain, and it might bend people's minds into a pretzel. So time it doesn't exist.
Mhm.
So these are not really past lives. These are lives that are happening right now. So I want you to imagine a circle and your higher self is in the middle. And then right now you could be a rock here. You want it to be a rock. And then you want it to be a tree. So that life is here. And then you want to be you and you're here. And then you want to be a unicorn and you're here. So they're all happening at the same time.
That
Or imagine also a building. Imagine a building, and the building is your soul. And in, the first floor, you're a cow. The second floor, you're a human. The third floor, and they're all happening at the same time. They're all,
right.
yeah.
Yeah, I
So
think that's because the logically everyone's like, "What?" But I do believe in that the alternate dimensions because I do a lot of going places in my dreams. So I go a lot of different dimensions, dimensions in my dream state. So I've actually seen a lot of this like myself
oh
as I've worked through and opened myself up to see it. And I always tell people this, like you wouldn't realize what our spirit can do. All we have is this. So it's kind of hard to understand how your spirit could be in all of these different places doing all of these different things. But I've had the I don't want to say interception of the lives, but I've had that kind of coexist in my dream state, lucid dreaming, and I've been in multiple places, which is pretty cool for me. I love it, but a lot of
yeah,
people can't wrap their minds around it. It's like, wait, what?
yeah. It's a hard concept to grasp. And also I have had people that have gone to the future because it's happening. It's all happening now. So I've had people that have gone to future lives.
Right, right. That's where I'm trying to get. I haven't got there yet. For some reason, I don't know why just yet, but I'm able to really go through and kind of connect on different planes. I mean, even to like I've
Wow.
told people I've been to a fairyland, been to a fairyland. I've been all over. I do connect in different spaces, and that's why I believe when you are connected to things and you believe it, it's because it comes from somewhere. Like there's a part of you that's experienced it or something. It's there. It's not just okay. This is the make believe stories. This is something that's connected to you deeply.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
guys are so welcome.
Yeah.
I am gonna get to end the show, and I do want to thank you so much for coming up
Oh,
here
my pleasure.
and just talking. She was I say I've met so many profound healers, and I'm telling you, just ask and spirit delivers. It's like boom. And then she was there, and I can't remember how I even came across you. I really don't, but I just know you were there, and it was just like we're doing this. And I think at the time, um, COVID had just hit, and so you had opened up donation based sessions, and I was just like, yeah, this is the time. Why not? Like, why not? Let's do this.
Yeah.